Hey, Billy back here from Broship of the Nerds. I'm here to give you Fastlane results and kind of a review. Um, the show was overall actually really good. There were a couple of things that kind of odd or felt rushed, but no show is going to be like perfect, so I try not to nitpick too much. But I'm going to nitpick this a little bit because it's the last pay per view. Supposed to get excited for WrestleMania, and it moved some things forward, but there weren't a lot of huge changes for WrestleMania, which I feel like what they should do, because they already should know what WrestleMania is going to be by the Rumble, honestly. Um, but anyways, I believe what WWE should do on this is really know what's going to happen, but throw a few twists in there that you don't see coming, just to kind of freshen things up. And it's like, okay, yeah, this has been our match the entire time, but we just kind of threw it together. And honestly, the Chamber I feel like should be a number one contender thing for like, let's say the winner of the Rumble picks their champion. I think the other titles, like the other World Heavyweight Champion, should be decided by the Chamber, and the winner, faces whoever the champion is at WrestleMania. That would be better. But anyways, here we go. On the kickoff show, Big E and Xavier Woods beat Shinsuke and Rusev. This was fine for the kickoff show. This was a back and forth match with Big E and Xavier going over, which is good to give New Day momentum. They're a great team, but Rusev and Shinsuke are still a newer team. So, you kind of take away any momentum that Shinsuke and Rusev could have had. I think they actually needed the win more than New Day. New Day is an established team. They're very good. I think they're one of the best tag teams in WWE right now. So I really do think that Shinsuke and Rusev could have won. It was a good match for the kickoff. I'm glad it was on the kickoff just because when you look at the rest of the card, nothing else really could have went on the kickoff. Andrade and Rey Mysterio were announced for the kickoff, but it did not happen. They changed the U.S. title match and added them in, which was fine because they do use that card subject to change, but sometimes you don't need to do that. Okay, so we had the Usos against Shane and Miz, the SmackDown Tag Titles. Miz's dad was at ringside and everything, which was awesome touch. Usos win, and Shane and Miz, shake hands and they go talk to Miz's dad, and then Shane attacks Miz, and then at one point he grabs Miz's dad's face. Honestly, the setup WrestleMania match, which should be good. When you look at WrestleMania, they should start with like a match that gets you into and slowly work through up. I believe either the cruiserweight title if it's not on the kickoff show, or Shane and Miz should actually start off WrestleMania just to get the fans interested and going. Um, this was a very good match, and at one point Shane in midair catches one of the Usos with the coast to coast, and that was a really just wicked move. It looked very painful. Um, Asuka versus Mandy Rose. Asuka defended the SmackDown Women's Champion. Both of these performers are very good. I felt like this match was rushed, and Asuka won. She went over, rightfully so, but I felt like, they set up Mandy and Sonya having a falling out, which is fine. They're both very good, and I think they need more time. But Asuka's match, there was no build up really. It was just Mandy is a future star, and I'll give her credit for that. And they were both did good for what they were allowed to work with, but they didn't have much chemistry, and I felt like that the match was a little bit rushed and didn't really have time to breathe. Honestly, following that tag match, this match should have went about another 5 minutes. It should have been like a 10, 12 minute match or something. I felt like it was kind of rushed. Um, and they could have saved time on this card anyways from other things they did. But Asuka and Mandy are both great. I just feel like that Mandy should have been given more time to shine and show what she can do because I know she's a great competitor. But yeah, I felt like that was rushed. Asuka winning was the right choice, but all the attention's been given to the Raw Women's Championship, and to make that match even better, I think hype wise, you need to let that breathe too and devote more time to every match. your top four matches. Really, when you think about WrestleMania, your top four matches, the way it's booked now, the Universal Champion, the WWE Champion, the Raw and SmackDown uh, Women's Championship should be really your top four matches. But it shouldn't take away from your other important matches. And I think this year's WrestleMania will be better than last year's. But anyways, um, there was no build for Asuka. There's been no hype for her title defense at WrestleMania, and I think that's a mistake. Um, because Becky and Charlotte are going for the Raw title for the women's division, so that should be a Raw focused thing. But what they should do is maybe interview one person a week instead of throwing us too much of it. Whereas with SmackDown, there needs to be more build for the Asuka match because she's great. She was undefeated for a long time. She lost last year against Charlotte. This should be a redemption story for her. She lost last year. It changed her. She took time away, that kind of thing. And then this year's Mania is about her getting her redemption to show that, yeah, I mean, I lost, but I still have it. So that should be what WrestleMania focuses on. Anyways, it was a good match, but was rushed, so it was average. The Bar against Kofi. Kofi was told he was going to be added to the Daniel Bryan Kevin Owens match, which was stolen from him with the contract signing. Kofi goes out to the ring, really excited. The fans are excited. The fans are into it. And boom, doesn't show up. What they could have done differently on this, because the Bar win, and it hurts Kofi's momentum, but it gets the fans behind them. They do this underdog, overlooked story quite often, which is fine. But I felt like what they should have done with Kofi is had him gone to the ring and have Rowan come out and just lay him out. And then that way it's like he was taken out of the match because he was attacked. Because if Vince McMahon's going to hold him back, he should come out to the ring instead and have Kofi go out there and Vince say, "Oh, you just haven't earned it yet. I don't see you as a top guy," um, kind of thing. Or they could go the opposite. I'll say, "Yeah, you've worked hard. A title shot is in your future. It's just not the time." And the fans would get behind Kofi more. They could have done something to make Kofi look good, but also have a roadblock in his path that looks legitimate. I mean, having him go in there with Vince and Vince just flat out lying to him was just bad booking, in my opinion. They could have done something where Vince McMahon, excuse me, Vince McMahon says something along the lines of, "Kofi, you're a good wrestler, but you haven't earned it yet." And then just leave it at that, and the fans can boo and make Kofi still have momentum. They could have done much better with this segment. The Revival defended the Raw Tag Team Championships against Aleister Black and Ricochet and the team of Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Great match. Actually, I like the timing and pacing of this. It didn't go too long to where you felt like that they overstayed their welcome or anything. This match ended up being very good. Back and forth, a lot of tags, a lot of finisher moves. The ending was really great. The last minute or so, the sequences they had were amazing. Everybody got their moves in. Every team looked good. This is what tag wrestling should be. It gave me that old school vibe with the modern day, moves and stuff. But I really got an old school vibe from this, and I really enjoyed every second of it. The Revival continue to prove why they are probably hands down the best team on Raw for certain, but overall, I think they could be one of the best. And I think they need to quit throwing people together and actually form more consistent teams. Because when you think about the tag division, you got the Bar, you have Gallus and Anderson, who are overlooked and should be used more. You got Sanity, which for some reason aren't used. What they should do for the brand split is bring some more of these guys to Raw and SmackDown, switch brands, and have more of the traditional teams. When I think of the tag team division, AOP could really be something if they had Ellering with them. The Revival are a great team. Black and Ricochet work, but they're just kind of thrown together. Gable and Rude, they're okay, but Rude needs to go on his own. Honestly, when you think about the tag division, I think Usos, the New Day, the Bar, Gallows and Anderson, Sanity, The Revival. Usos probably be in the top, but New Day's right there with them. The Colognes, yeah, I mean, they're still a tag team that needs to be highlighted more and showcased more. But I feel like some of these teams are thrown together and they need to focus more on the tag division. But this match, finally, they put the Raw tag titles match on the main card and even on the card period. Lately, they've overlooked the tag titles because I think every pay per view, the tag titles need to be defended. Um, and with Intercontinental in the U.S., you can alternate every pay per view. You can have U.S. on one, Intercontinental on the other. That works. Okay, next up, it was supposed to be Samoa Joe. Well, originally it was announced Mysterio and Andrade would be on the pre-show, the kickoff show. Then they made it a Fatal Four Way. Samoa Joe, Andrade, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio. Fatal Four Ways, I'm generally not a fan of if it's not elimination, but I tell you what, they did a really great job here because the Fatal Four Way allowed everyone to shine. At one point, you believe that any one of these four could win. Um, so that was great. Fatal Four Way was done perfectly here. And if you're going to do a Fatal Four Way, do it like this to where everyone shines, everyone has a chance to show what they can do. R-Truth has been, I think he's remotivated. I mean, the guy's always been good, but lately he's been much better than normal. So I feel like with R-Truth, they finally, yeah, they're testing Tornado Sirens. With R-Truth, I feel like they've actually allowed him to step up lately, and it's been amazing. Mysterio shined here. Andrade, I cannot do anything but praise Andrade. He is a guy that I think the next year or two should be a world champion. I think he is amazing. I watched him in NXT. Him and Gargano had some just stellar matches, but everything he does is great. And honestly, he needs to be patient. But Andrade is a guy that I could see being a world champion, and Zelina Vega is a person I could see being women's champion down the road. She's small, but she's got a lot of power and ability. But anyways, there's a lot of great moves here. At one point, Zelina Vega hits a Hurricane Rana on R-Truth, and it was amazing. Joe, nothing but praise for him. The guy won the match with the Coquita clutch. They made Mysterio look strong by having him pass out. Joe is a beast, and I love the way they let that monster come out, like in his character, because that's what he is. And if allowed to be like that all the time, he could carry your brand as WWE champion. And I feel like the U.S. Championship is great for him because it allows them to test the waters, see how the fans react. But the fans are always going, Joe, Joe, Joe. And you don't see that very often. And the fans are behind him because he's not pushed on you. He's not thrown in your face. He's just a consistent performer that's there. And I felt like all four of these men shine. Joe was the right call because now you set up maybe a Joe versus Cena match where Joe goes over. Um, Certainly, I think Roman against Joe wouldn't be the best. I think McIntyre and Roman will be great, and I think McIntyre deserves to go over actually because he's a guy that's also a future champion here, and I would love to see a Rollins McIntyre feud down the road. But anyways, I digress. Joe wins. Great match, stellar booking, amazing. I'm going to be interested to see what they do with the championship from here out because it should be important, and it gives more credibility by putting it on Joe. The Boston Hug connection. You had Sasha and Bailey against Nia and Tamina. All four women looked good. The match was good. You know, Sasha and Bailey win, rightfully so. Finally, Sasha can say they were able to defend a title. That was a storyline going in that should have been played on more. But the Boston Hug Connection win, heading into WrestleMania. Hopefully they face. I'm hoping Lita and Trish, but no, the Iconics are another good team they could face. But anyways, um, Boston Hug Connection win. Afterwards, they've taken a beat down. They go by the broadcast area. Beth Phoenix stands up and punches Tamina. Beth gets beat up. Natalia comes down. She gets beat up. Honestly, here's another thing they could do to really be interesting at WrestleMania. Start off the show. I said Shane and Miz, but honestly, if you're gonna go ahead and have this match at WrestleMania with Beth Phoenix and Natalia against Nia and Tamina, it should start the show to build momentum, to get the fans into it. It shouldn't be later in the show. That would be a mistake on WWE's part. I think if you kick off WrestleMania, the main show, with Nia and Tamina against Natalia and Beth. Let it be just all four of these women are strong, they're beasts. Let them four beat the heck out of each other for 10 to 15 minutes. That really would get the crowd into it. Good match, right winners. Boston can actually get the win now. They can move on to other people. Um, Next up, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, WWE Championship. You know, like I said, they could have done it. Adding Ali was last minute, and it backfired as he got booed actually. But later in the match, he got cheered again, so it worked out. But what they should have done is sent Kofi down first, or send Kevin Owens down first. He's in the ring. Have Kofi's music hit, and then have Daniel and Rowan jump and beat the hell out of him. Have Kevin Owens try to save Kofi because you keep him as the good guy and you try to get him to have sympathy for Kofi, and that could be a storyline later to where Owens comes out and talks about how he agrees with Kofi, and Kofi can say, "I don't need your sympathy," and have Kofi beat Owens for number one contender match at WrestleMania, have Kofi advance. That could be something they could do, but they could have done anything else with Kofi here, and I feel like adding Ali was just kind of random. Ali shined in the match. All three competitors did, and Rowan came, I mean, triple threats are now no DQ, which I like. That could add some intrigue to WrestleMania's main event if they do go that route with Becky, Charlotte, and you know, Ronda. But anyways, Daniel, Owens, and Ali have a great match. They all kick each other's butts. They beat the crap out of each other. Rowan gets involved. Daniel Bryan wins. Right call. The guy deserves to be champion in WrestleMania. It's great to see him as champion. The heel thing, but I still like the match. Next up, Becky versus Charlotte. I didn't like it. Problem is, they're still selling the Becky knee injury. Okay, fine. You're going to do that, cool. But this should have been a quick match with Becky winning. What they could have done is had Charlotte get overconfident and she's posing and everything. And she goes for the figure eight. Becky puts her in the disarmer, makes her tap. I like that ending better. Or to make. Becky's amazing. She's my favorite. But now WrestleMania looks like a must win for her because Charlotte consistently wins. Ronda consistently wins. She's undefeated, in fact, except for that tag match where she didn't take the official loss. She wasn't pinned or submitted herself. But this actually was bad because it was rushed. It wasn't allowed time to really breathe. Becky wins because Ronda comes out, punches her, and walks out. But it honestly just felt bad. Not because it wasn't the execution. It was more of, hey, what the hell are you guys thinking booking wise? Um, like I said, either Becky catches her off guard and gets her in a quick submission and wins. Anything would have been better than this. It was actually my least favorite match on the card, probably. But Becky should have been, once again, they could have played that Becky's walking down to the ring, gets the hell beat out of her by Ronda. So, and Charlotte, too. Ronda lays them both out, grabs her microphone, or maybe the match starts. As soon as the match starts, Ronda's music hits. Charlotte gets distracted, Becky gets this armor, or Ronda lays out Becky and then Charlotte, so Becky still wins. But they should have done this earlier because it ended at a weird spot, just kind of randomly and out of nowhere, and I felt like it was weak. But anyways, Becky gets the win. Good. She deserves to be in the match. What they could have really done to have gotten this bigger response was have them come out and say, due to Becky's injury, she cannot compete. We're not taking a chance on her. Then wait till WrestleMania, have Charlotte and Ronda in the ring, and then say, and Becky Lynch. Because by throwing her on TV every week, they're kind of taking away her momentum. But Becky won, good move, but not the execution was poor. Or booking. Next up, main event: Shield versus Corbin Lashley and Drew McIntyre. I didn't like it being the main event at first, but I'm like, you know what? If this really is the Shield's last match together, put it on last. Corbin Lashley and McIntyre looked like solid heels here. I love McIntyre's work. He's consistent. He's great. He's a future champion, and they treated him like that in this match, even with the loss. The Shield win. Ambrose looked like he got a bit choked up. Um, right team won. This was a feel-good moment for everybody, and Ambrose deserves to go off into the sunset with the win here. And if it, like I said, if it was the Shield's last match together, they did a great job with it. So overall, I'm going to give this pay-per-view, rating-wise, set up for WrestleMania, a couple of small surprises, nothing too major. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It was fun. It built for Mania. Good matches overall. Couple of disappointments, nothing too much. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's better than what we've seen in a while. So, good job, WWE. Let's see what happens in Mania. I'm actually very excited for Mania for the first time in a while. I feel like every match is going to be good. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. For now, actually, I have one more video coming today. Shadowhunters review. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Fastlane. Thank you very much for tuning in.